I was born with an ordinary face, yet I bought a handsome criminal slave to be my husband. He disliked me for being crude, would rather work as a long-term laborer than be a husband. One day his case was overturned. He did not hesitate to climb onto the carriage back to the capital. Before leaving, he even left me advice. Jiang Mingyue, with your status, matching with a butcher is most suitable. But when I really was going to marry, he became unwilling. Until the day of the name Fu Yunqi, I was sitting by the well thinking how to persuade Fu Yunqi to submit to me. After all, I had already bought him for 2 years. In these 2 years, I coaxed and pressured him, soft and hard methods all used, hoping Fu Yunqi could eat soft rice with a hard mouth, but Fu Yunqi did not understand at all. Every time I mentioned this matter, it was always the same words. I am not suitable with you. In the past 2 years, I always thought, what is called not suitable, but Fu Yunqi would not tell me. He was too lazy to speak to me. Just when I had no way, outside the door the clanging sound of carriage wheels brought the answer to my doorstep. The next second, Princess Anning covered her nose and pushed open my old broken door. Seeing the once aloof Grand Tutor who did not touch spring water with his hands, now driving a donkey and pushing a millstone, her beautiful big eyes were so pained they seemed to drip water. In the past, Fu Yunqi always coldly taught me that girls must understand propriety and shame. But now when Princess Anning ran and threw herself into his arms, he forgot that set of words, just stood there dumbly raising his hands. After a moment, he recovered from shock and looked at the woman in his arms. Anning, Princess Anning cried with joy, nodding again and again. It's me, Yunqi, I came to take you home. The two of them looked at each other, as if me and the donkey beside didn't exist. To show my existence reasonably, I stepped forward and pulled her smooth sleeve. Miss, you hugged the wrong person, this is my husband. Only then did Princess Anning notice me, hesitating. Husband? After seeing me nod, she looked at Fu Yunqi in shock. Her voice trembled. Fu Yunqi, you got married? Only then did I know his name was Fu Yunqi. In the past 2 years, he never told me his name. Fu Yunqi naturally denied it. No, she is only my employer. Facing his exposure, I felt a little guilty. After all, in being my husband, he really never agreed. Back then when my mother threatened him, if not husband then long-term laborer, he went out without hesitation, dragging his sick body to push the mill. In these 2 years, I tried all methods, but he just would not marry me. At this moment, hearing his denial, Princess Anning relaxed, then looked down at me and said slowly, you crude woman, you actually dare to covet the current Grand Tutor. That was unfair to me. When I bought Fu Yunqi, he was only an exiled criminal. I had no idea he used to be the Grand Tutor. Besides, officials exiled to our remote region usually never make it back in their lifetime. Who could have thought Fu Yunqi would become the first exception? Fu Yunqi paid no attention to Princess Anning's mockery of me. He merely looked at me indifferently and said, Miss Jiang, I'm afraid I won't be able to work today. Mockery aside, at dinner, the noble Princess Anning still sat at the same table as me, a crude village woman. My table and chairs were narrow and uncomfortable, making her complain constantly. Yunqi, this table is too cramped. Let's go back to the inn in town. Fu Yunqi smiled. A man as cold as him actually smiled, but though he smiled, there was a trace of sadness in his expression. The next moment, I heard him say, I've used such crude tables and chairs for 2 years. The arrogance on Princess Anning's face was replaced with overwhelming sympathy. Because he was handsome, even his displeasure seemed pitiful. To ease the tension, I quickly followed up, I've sat at such crude tables and chairs for 18 years. As usual, Fu Yunqi ignored me, but Princess Anning sneered, so what if you've sat there 20 years? Someone as lowly as you was born to sit at such crude furniture. I lowered my head awkwardly, only to see my mother's fists clenched tightly beneath the table. Because Fu Yunqi refused to marry me, my mother had always disliked him. Yet today, she remained silent. After a moment, Fu Yunqi spoke his farewell. When I was in trouble, you bought me. These past years, I've worked in your household from sunrise to sunset. I believe this labor repays your kindness. From now on, we are even, owing each other nothing. After saying this, he stood up, bowed slightly to my mother, and turned to leave with Princess Anning. I grew anxious and wanted to stop him, but my mother held me back. Only after the sound of the carriage faded into the distance did she sigh. Daughter, give up. I told you long ago, he's not one of us. That day when I first bought Fu Yunqi, my mother had already said those words. But I didn't listen, because I inherited my mother's weakness for good looks. When the officers brought the criminal slaves to town for sale, I spotted Fu Yunqi at a glance among the crowd. He looked frail and thin, but his eyes were beautiful. With just a light glance at me, my face turned red. The day I brought him home, he fell ill. When Dr. Lu came to examine him, he said he was barely holding on to life. When we paid for the medicine, my mother kept sighing, scolding me for being blinded by appearances, for buying a sickly man who would only cost us more money. She said at a glance that he wasn't the same kind of person as us. At the time, I never imagined he was once a noble Grand Tutor, nor did I expect he would hate becoming my husband so much. And I certainly never imagined he would one day leave this harsh land. In short, Fu Yunqi left just like that. That night, I lay in bed staring at the bright moon outside the window, unable to sleep. Irritated, I reached into my pillow and touched a piece of paper. Looking at the crooked writing on it, I remembered, it was Fu Yunqi's contract of servitude. It should be returned to him. So before dawn the next day, I set out with the document in hand. The inn where Fu Yunqi stayed was 20 miles away. I didn't dare rest along the way and only managed to arrive before the rooster crowed. The inn was strictly guarded, and commoners like me couldn't enter directly. I could only ask the gatekeeper to pass on a message. Just as I was about to fall asleep from waiting, Fu Yunqi came out slowly with Princess Anning. When he saw me, he frowned. Princess Anning spoke first. Why are you here again? I glanced at Fu Yunqi, feeling awkward. He had already changed into fine clothes similar to hers, completely different from when he used to push the millstone at my home. Standing before him now, I suddenly felt short of breath. At that that moment, I finally understood what he meant by not suitable. Standing beside Princess Anning, he looked far more fitting than he ever did beside me. After a long pause, I stuttered, "I came to see when you're leaving." Princess Anning rolled her eyes. "What does that have to do with a despicable opportunist like you?" I didn't know when I had become such a person. Fu Yunqi stopped her. "We're leaving soon." Hearing that, I felt flustered. He looked at me and said, "I've told you long ago, I won't be your husband. Go back early and stop troubling me." I had heard those words countless times before, but never had they sounded so harsh. While feeling hurt, I touched the contract in my sleeve. Seeing him about to get into the carriage, I hurriedly called out, "Wait." Princess Anning snapped impatiently, "What now, you village girl?" I handed it over. "You left this behind." She snatched the document and passed it to him. After seeing what it was, his expression relaxed. Then, right before my eyes, he tore it into pieces. "I am now a free man. This contract is useless to me." I stared blankly at the fluttering scraps of paper. "Thank you for making the trip. Go back early, we're leaving." He turned toward the carriage. I called out again, "Wait, what else? I spent 5 taels of silver to buy you." He paused, then turned to Princess Anning. "Anning, give her 5 taels of gold." She took out a gold ingot and tossed it at me. As I bent to pick it up, the carriage passed by. Fu Yunqi lifted the curtain and said, "Jiang Mingyue, with your status, a butcher suits you best. Don't think about anything else." That was the first time he called my name. From inside the carriage came Princess Anning's mocking laughter. "Did you hear that? Stop dreaming about climbing higher. You think someone like you can?" He misunderstood me again. I wanted him to be my husband not because I wanted to climb higher. When I bought him, he was just a criminal. I liked him because he was good looking. But what use was good looks? Someone like him would never lower himself to meet my eyes. The carriage clattered farther and farther away. I stood there for a long time, until I could no longer see even the curtain at the back, before finally dragging my sore legs home. As soon as I turned into the alley, I saw my mother waiting at the door. I thought she would scold me. I hadn't told her before leaving in the morning, and I hadn't ground the soybeans. But she only sighed. "There's food left for you in the stove." Her reaction made me feel even more guilty, because what my mother always said was, "Mingyue, don't be like me. When you choose a man, don't look at his face. Find someone strong, someone who can shoulder responsibility." She didn't say this because my handsome father had wronged her, but because not long after I was born, my good-looking yet frail father died. The day I bought Fu Yunqi, she gave me 5 taels of silver and repeatedly instructed me, 2 taels to buy a man, 2 taels to buy a donkey, 1 tael to buy beans. Make sure you buy someone strong, don't look at the face. But I failed her trust. I spent all 5 taels on Fu Yunqi, pale and weak. Still, it turned out fine. 5 taels of silver became 5 taels of gold, not a loss. After Fu Yunqi left, grinding tofu fell back onto my shoulders, and the donkey finally got to rest. The donkey had originally been bought for Fu Yunqi. I was strong and could push the millstone for an hour straight without needing a donkey. Before he came, I always pushed it myself. After he came, the mill turned as slowly as a turtle. I had offered to do it, but he insisted on working himself just to avoid marrying me. He misunderstood me. I did want him to marry me, but I wasn't the kind of petty person Princess Anning described. I only tried to persuade him, I never forced him. I couldn't bear to see his beautiful hands worn raw by the millstone, so I secretly used my own savings to buy the donkey. Now the donkey was no longer needed. My mother thought I would collapse after he left, but I didn't. I worked just like before, no, even harder. Before, I could make 2 batches of tofu in a morning. After he left, I could make 3 and a half. Seeing me push the mill so desperately every day, my mother shook her head in distress. At dinner, she looked at me with concern. "Daughter, it's alright. I'll find you someone better looking, even better than that skinny boy." I took a bite of pickled vegetables. "Mother, I don't want someone good looking anymore." "What kind do you want then?" "I'll find whatever you want." I thought for a moment. "A butcher. Then we'll have meat every day." I lied. It wasn't because I wanted meat. It was because I had asked the school children in town what kind of official a Grand Tutor was. A very, very important one. You have to study a lot to become one. So Fu Yunqi had read so many books. Then what he said must be right. I was suited to marry a butcher. My mother acted quickly. Within a few days, she brought the matchmaker Wang to our house. "Mingyue, there's a butcher from the neighboring village. Do you want him?" I nodded without hesitation. The next afternoon, the matchmaker brought him over. It was my first time interacting with a man other than Fu Yunqi, so I felt uneasy. But when I saw him, I realized we had met before. After Fu Yunqi came to our house, we sold tofu at the market. He disliked hawking goods in the streets and preferred walking over 10 extra miles to sell in town. Chen Er was the butcher who sold pork across from us. Fu Yunqi was proud, even when selling tofu. He disliked picky old women and haggling customers, so we often couldn't sell everything. One rainy day, we had too much tofu left. As we scrambled to move things under shelter, some still got wet. At that moment, Chen Er helped us, quickly carrying everything to safety. That was the first time I understood the value of my mother's advice. Strong men really were useful. Now meeting again, Chen Er was even more nervous than me. He didn't know where to put his hands. I offered him water. "This water tastes great." I told him to sit. "This seat is very comfortable." After a few awkward exchanges, I couldn't help laughing at his clumsy honesty. He scratched his head shyly. "I'm not good with words. Sorry if I made you laugh." No, not laughing at you." The two of us fell silent again. After quite a while, Chen Er suddenly remembered something. He took out a small paper-wrapped package from his pocket and pushed it across the table. "It's our first meeting. I didn't know what you like, so I bought some malt candy. I saw girls on the street like eating it." The candy was wrapped carefully in oiled paper. It was clear he had put thought into it. When he saw me eat the candy, he grinned foolishly. A sudden sense of guilt rose in my heart. I was married once before. You've seen him, the one who sold tofu with me. He used to be be a high-ranking official in the capital, but after committing a crime, he was sold to me. He didn't like me and didn't want to live with me. A few days ago, his case was overturned and he returned to the capital, but Chen Er still smiled simply. It doesn't matter. It's good that he's gone. I was puzzled. You don't mind? He smiled shyly. As long as you don't mind that I'm rough. Just as we were talking, the matchmaker knocked on the window. Butcher Chen, it's time to go. Chen Er stood up, looking like he wanted to say something, but under the matchmaker's urging, he finally turned to leave. Before stepping out, I called after him. Butcher Chen, the candy is very tasty. Bring some more next time. Alright. Perhaps too excited, he tripped over the threshold as he left. Watching his simple, honest figure turn back again and again to look at me, I couldn't help laughing. After the engagement was settled, my mother asked me again and again, "Daughter, are you really going to marry him?" I nodded. Is there even such a thing as backing out now? He's already brought the betrothal gifts. That's not what I mean. I'm afraid you'll regret it. What would I regret? Didn't you always want a handsome husband? Brother Chen is quite good looking too. My mother sighed. I knew what she wanted to say, that I had always wanted Fu Yunqi. Why had I suddenly changed my mind? Even I didn't fully understand. Maybe I realized that, just as Fu Yunqi said, we weren't suitable. Or maybe I realized my mother was right. Because after Chen Er started coming to our house, life improved a lot. He worked even harder than I did. What took me an hour to grind, he finished in less than half an hour. He also often brought us fresh pork, and both my mother and I became noticeably plumper. On the day of the formal betrothal, Chen Er brought a cart full of gifts, along with half a pig. Mother-in-law, don't worry, I will take good care of Mingyue. A mother-in-law always grows fond of her son-in-law the more she sees him. My mother smiled brightly as she put away the pork, watching Chen Er secretly slip candy into my mouth. After the betrothal, our wedding date was set. Only then did I realize how complicated a wedding could be. My marriage with Fu Yunqi had been entirely one-sided. There hadn't even been a formal exchange of names, let alone a ceremony. But this marriage with Chen Er was done properly. Red lanterns were hung all around the house. Even the donkey, long retired from work, wore a red flower. Early in the morning, Madame Zhang from the village came to groom me. After the painful face threading, she applied layers of unfamiliar cosmetics. By the time Chen Er arrived, I felt suffocated by all the powder. Chen Er had lost his parents young, so after fetching me, we circled his village once before returning to my home. When we bowed to my mother, I heard her choking up. Good, all good. After the ceremony, I was led into the bridal chamber, covered with the red veil, waiting for Chen Er to lift it. Just as I was about to fall asleep from waiting, I heard footsteps outside. The door opened, and someone walked in. Thinking it was Chen Er, I said, "Brother Chen, hurry, and lift my veil. I'm suffocating." But the next moment, I heard a cold voice. "Who are you calling brother?" After returning to the capital for nearly a month, Fu Yunqi felt listless. Nothing interested him anymore. The case of treason from years ago had been fully investigated. The emperor had restored his official position. Everything he had once longed for, he now had. And yet, he couldn't feel happy. Day after day, as he handled official affairs at his desk, his mind would drift back to those days in Yuyang town, pushing the millstone. Princess Anning visited him daily, urging him to set a wedding date. Strangely, back in Yuyang town, he had missed her terribly, but now that he saw her again, her arrogance and willfulness only made him unable to like her. The court was still full of schemes and intrigue. Many tried to win him over, piling up gifts until he grew annoyed just looking at them. One day, after arguing again with Princess Anning over marriage, Jiang Mingyue's quiet face suddenly appeared in his mind. For the past 2 years, she had clung to him in much the same way, repeatedly asking him to marry her. When refusing Princess Anning, he would at least soften his tone and make excuses. But when rejecting Jiang Mingyue, he had always been blunt, even harsh. She, on the other hand, always seemed good-tempered, never angry, never upset. The longer he stayed in the capital, the more intrigue he witnessed, the more he missed everything about Yuyang town. He couldn't understand why he had been so desperate to escape back then. He even began to regret not giving Jiang Mingyue more, and regretted how coldly he had treated her. When news came of a drought in the northwest and officials were needed for relief efforts, he immediately volunteered. The emperor approved. The day before leaving, he went to the market and bought many small trinkets girls would like, along with some hairpins for Jiang Mingyue. He realized he had never given her anything before. Looking at the pile of items, he could almost imagine her smiling when she saw them. As soon as he arrived in Yuyang town, he hurried along familiar paths toward that small courtyard where he had once lived. But the closer he got, the more something felt wrong. The whole alley was decorated with red lanterns. It looked like a wedding. Whose wedding? Among the girls in that alley, only Jiang Mingyue was of marriageable age. A bad feeling rose in his chest. He pushed open her door, and heard her softly call someone else brother. Fu Yunqi's voice startled me. Why was he here? Could it be that he heard I was getting married and came to drink at my wedding? Of course, he didn't answer me. He reached out to lift my veil. I hurriedly tilted my head away and said anxiously, "You can't lift it. The matchmaker said only the groom can do that." But Fu Yunqi wouldn't listen. He pulled off the red veil without hesitation. My vision suddenly brightened. I saw him staring at me with anger. "Who allowed you to marry? Who allowed me to marry?" Of course it was me, but I didn't feel like answering him. I was more concerned about the veil. "Give it back to me. Why did you take it?" He gripped the veil tightly, repeating, "Who allowed you to marry?" I glared at him, feeling annoyed. What was wrong with him? Before leaving, he clearly said someone like me was best suited for a butcher. Now that I married one, he was unhappy? And what right did he have to be angry? Seeing the stalemate, I wanted to call Chen from outside, but I remembered the matchmaker's warning not to shout loudly. Just then, Chen pushed open the door, reeking of alcohol. The moment he saw Fu Yunqi, the drunkenness on his face vanished, replaced by cold hostility. What are you doing here? Fu Yunqi turned to face him, equally cold. What are you? Seeing Chen I quickly ran to his side, afraid he might misunderstand. I didn't let him in. He came by himself. I thought it was you. Chen gently patted my hand. I know. It's fine. That simple gesture somehow provoked Fu Yunqi. He lowered his voice, suppressing anger. Let go of her hand. Chen sneered and instead held my hand more firmly. I'm holding my own wife's hand. What does it have to do with you? Grand Tutor, you're overstepping. Fu Yunqi was at a loss for words, but refused to back down. Who says she's your wife? Chen smiled confidently. There are official documents, a marriage contract, and it's recorded in the household registry. Jiang Mingyue is my wife. His words were firm and powerful, giving me a sense of security. Yet somehow, I felt he was no longer as simple and naive as before. Fu Yunqi took a deep breath. Jiang Mingyue has feelings for me. She would never marry you. Chen chuckled. That was before. Now she's my wife. Every step, betrothal, name exchange, engagement, she agreed to personally. Grand Tutor, you'd better leave. Don't ruin our wedding night. At those words, Fu Yunqi finally lost control of his anger. You dare. Without my permission, no one can marry Jiang Mingyue. I found it ridiculous. He wasn't my father. What did my marriage have to do with him? Seeing he wouldn't leave, Chen stepped forward to push him out. I don't want trouble, but today is my wedding. Anyone who causes problems, I won't show mercy. But Fu Yunqi refused to go. In the struggle, the two began fighting. Fu Yunqi was no match for Chen Within a few moves, he had taken several blows to the face. Afraid the commotion would alert the guests, I rushed forward to stop them. Fu Yunqi spat out blood and glared at me. Jiang Mingyue, do you see this? He's just a brute. What's good about someone like him? I stood beside Chen gently wiping the blood from his knuckles, and said calmly, so what if he's a brute? I like him. I want to marry him. The room fell silent. Chen held my hand tightly. Fu Yunqi, however, laughed angrily. Good. Jiang Mingyue, you're doing this just to anger me, aren't you? I was confused. When had I angered him? But his expression was frightening, and I instinctively stepped behind Chen That movement seemed to enrage him further. Fu Yunqi sneered, then stormed out. His expression left me uneasy. Sure enough, not long after, hurried footsteps sounded outside. Officials burst in. The county magistrate ordered his men to seize Chen I was stunned, then rushed forward. My lord, what crime has my husband committed? Why are you arresting him? My mother also came, pleading desperately. The magistrate sneered. He dared to assault a court official. Naturally, he must be taken for interrogation. A court official. I immediately knew he meant Fu Yunqi. Chen was taken away despite all our pleas. Before leaving, he still comforted us. Mother, Mingyue, it's alright. Don't be afraid. But how could I not be afraid? For the first time, I began to truly resent Fu Yunqi. Resentment aside, after discussing with my mother, we still decided to go and plead with Fu Yunqi the next day. But before I could even step out of the courtyard, he came to us first. He was dressed even more extravagantly than the day before, and he even bowed politely to my mother, startling her so much that she couldn't close her mouth. Seeing me glaring at him angrily, he asked gently, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Suppressing my displeasure, I asked, my lord, was it you who had my husband taken to the yamen? A trace of coldness flashed in Fu Yunqi's eyes. What husband? I grew anxious. My husband hit you. That was wrong. We'll apologize. But you disrupted our wedding first. You shouldn't have had him arrested without warning. Fu Yunqi became impatient. Husband, so that brute is all you see now? Jiang Mingyue, since I returned, have you asked about me even once? I didn't understand. Why would I ask about him? Chen was my rightful husband. What was wrong with caring about him? My mother secretly pinched my arm, signaling me to endure. Thinking of Chen still in prison, I swallowed my anger and softened my tone. My lord, what happened yesterday was our fault. Please be magnanimous and release him. When he returns, we will apologize to you together. Fu Yunqi stared at me and said word by word, Jiang Mingyue, I'm not angry because he hit me. I was taken aback. Then what was it? Maybe he was still angry about how my mother and I had tried to force him to marry me before. Thinking this, I felt less restrained. What happened before was partly my fault. I didn't know your identity. If I had known you were the Grand Tutor, I would never have had such thoughts. As for making you do labor, that was your own choice. My voice grew quieter, lacking confidence. Fu Yunqi grew even angrier, his gaze cold. Jiang Mingyue, you are truly stubborn beyond reason. I didn't even know what that meant. He snorted coldly and left. My mother blamed me for angering him. Oh heavens, what are we going to do? Our son-in-law is still in jail. I regretted my impulsiveness, but there was nothing else I could do. I prepared food and went to the yamen. The guards wouldn't let me in, though they let others pass freely. Even I could tell someone had given orders. I asked them to inform Fu Yunqi that I wanted to see him. He came out quickly, but this time, he was cold again. What do you want? I came to see you, I said carefully. His expression softened slightly, and he led me to a room behind the yamen. He poured me tea, but I couldn't drink. I was too worried about Chen Finally, I said, my lord, can I ask you for a favor? He didn't respond. Instead, he pushed a box toward me. Look first. Inside were trinkets, hairpins, copper butterflies, little ornaments. Do you like them? I nodded absent-mindedly. My lord, can you? He interrupted calmly. You want to see that brute, don't you? I nodded eagerly. Yes, you can, he said, raising an eyebrow, but don't regret it. I didn't understand why I would regret it, but I followed him into the prison. The smell hit me immediately, rotting and foul. After searching cell after cell, I finally found Chenair curled up in a corner. He looked like he had been beaten. Chenair, he turned, dragging his injured leg toward me. In just 2 days, he had become gaunt and weak. Mingyue, why are you here? I brought you food, I said, opening the box. He didn't eat. Instead, he glared past me at Fu Yunqi. You, what are you doing here? Afraid he'd anger Fu Yunqi again, I stuffed a bun into his mouth. Behind me, Fu Yunqi sneered. Jiang Mingyue, do you see now? This is the kind of man you want to marry? I ignored him and continued feeding Chenair. After a while, Fu Yunqi grew impatient. Enough, time to go. The jailer came to drive me away. Reluctantly, I followed him out. But instead of taking me home, he led me to a small room. Then I heard voices from next door. Do you admit to assaulting a court official? I admit it, Chenair replied, but he ruined my wedding first. A slap sounded. How dare a commoner strike an official? Blow after blow followed. I panicked, almost shouting, but Fu Yunqi covered my mouth tightly. There are officials who beat commoners, but no commoner may strike an official. Chenair groaned under the beating. Finally, a voice said, the Grand Tutor is merciful. If you confess, you'll be released tomorrow. After a pause, Chenair asked, if I confess, I can go home? Yes. Silence. Then, I won't sign. What do you mean I abducted Jiang Mingyue? She's my legally wedded wife. The beating resumed. Sign it. Write a divorce letter and go home, and you'll be free. I won't. Even if I die, I won't. More blows. Then screams. Terrible, unbearable screams. I couldn't see, but I could hear everything. Finally, I'll sign. I'll sign. I broke down. The moment I heard him say I'll sign, I completely broke down. After leaving the prison, my eyes were still red. Thinking of Chenair's agonized cries, my heart felt like it was being torn apart. Seeing how upset I was, Fu Yunqi finally spoke again, his voice laced with mockery. Jiang Mingyue, now do you see what kind of man you chose? Do you regret marrying him? I didn't respond. I only asked dully. He signed the confession. Will you release him now? Fu Yunqi froze, as if he hadn't expected that question. After a moment, he smiled faintly. That depends on his attitude. He still hasn't written the divorce letter. I wiped my tears. I can write it. Is that okay? What? I'll write the divorce letter. I'll divorce him. Just let him go. Don't torture him anymore. Fu Yunqi grew angry again. Jiang Mingyue, what do you mean by this? I looked at him. Don't you just want revenge on me? You want me to end up alone, with no one willing to marry me? If I divorce him, then he'll have nothing to do with me. Just stop hurting him. The more I spoke, the more wronged I felt, and tears welled up again. Fu Yunqi said coldly, in your eyes, am I really that despicable? I didn't answer. Whether he was or not didn't matter. I only knew he hated me. After a moment, he sighed. Divorce him. I'll take you back to the capital. I looked at him, confused. Why would you take me to the capital? He coughed lightly, then said in a calm tone, didn't you always want to marry me? I can let you marry me. That way, you won't have to live alone. Strangely, this was something I had long wished to hear, but now, I felt nothing. If I do that, will you release Chenair? Hearing me mention Chenair again, Fu Yunqi finally lost control. Chenair, he's all you think about. He's just a butcher, a brute. What is there to care about? I answered him word by word. He's a good person. He never despises me. Fu Yunqi sneered. That's it? I nodded. That's it. But you heard it. He gave you up. That's because you tortured him. Fu Yunqi laughed coldly. That little punishment, and he immediately signed. A man like that doesn't love you. Why insist on choosing him? I looked straight at him. I told you, that's because you tortured him. He loves me, but he didn't choose me. I don't blame him. If it were me, and someone used torture to force me to give him up, I would do the same. Choices made at the edge of life and death don't count. He just wanted to live. Fu Yunqi seemed stunned. After a long moment, he said quietly, but if it were me, I would choose you. Jiang Mingyue, I would choose you. I paused. What did he mean? Was everything he did just to get me? But I no longer wanted to dwell on it. I said firmly, no, Lord Fu, you wouldn't. Your body couldn't endure those punishments. And besides, in the past 2 years, when there was no danger to your life, you never chose me. He opened his mouth, but couldn't argue, because it was true. In those 2 years, he had treated me terribly. He disliked everything about me, my chatter, the freckles on my face, my patched clothes. Sometimes he even criticized the way I stepped through a doorway. I knew why. Because he didn't love me. And I knew why Chenair didn't mind. Because he did love me. For the first time, I understood how wonderful it felt to be loved. And I no longer wanted Fu Yunqi. Seeing my resolve, Fu Yunqi gave a bitter smile. That's right. I never chose. I didn't know if he meant it for me or for himself. In the end, he said nothing more about it. He had someone escort me home. I still wanted to ask about the divorce letter, how to write it, how to give it to him, but he said nothing and went back into the yamen. Afraid Chenair would be tortured again, I planned to ask the village scholar to help me write the divorce letter. But just as I stepped out of the house, Chenair returned. He was injured, carried back by officials. Seeing him, my mother and I nearly cried with relief. He was still the same simple man, gently patting my head. Mingyue, don't be afraid, I'm back. After the officials left, I hurried to check his injuries. I heard they used hot irons on you. You must have been in so much pain. But after checking his whole body, I found no burn marks. He grabbed my hand, confused. What hot irons? They only hit me a few times. I was stunned. I heard them slap you, beat you with sticks. When, after I brought you food, he touched my forehead. Mingyue, are you confused from worry? I stayed in the cell the whole time. What confession? What divorce letter? Now it was my turn to be confused. After I left, Fu Yunqi suddenly felt a bit ridiculous. The entire interrogation scene he had carefully staged to test Chenair had instead become something else entirely. It had become proof that Jiang Mingyue would never return to him. He finally understood that her choosing that butcher had nothing to do with the man himself. Even without Chenair, she would not have turned back. Everything was his own doing. It was his arrogance and ignorance chance that had personally pushed her into someone else's arms. There was no one else to blame, and no room for self-pity. It was already too late. After the marriage, 2 years passed, and Chen-er and I had a daughter. From the day she was born, Chen-er's eyes were full of only her. Every day, after selling pork, before even stepping into the courtyard, he would shout, "My precious daughter, your father is back." Even though the child couldn't yet call him father, he still said it every single day. Watching him like that, I felt a little dissatisfied. "Daughter, daughter, you only care about your daughter now." Every time I said this, Chen-er would pull out some little trinket from behind his back to coax me. "Who says that?" "My wife. I remember you too." I pretended not to care. Until one day, a child from the street brought me a small box. Inside were all kinds of little things girls like. I thought Chen-er had bought them to make me happy and said, blushing, "You fool, buying so many useless things." But when Chen-er came back and took out a handful of malt candy from behind his back, I was confused. I pointed at the box. "You didn't buy these?" Chen-er shook his head. "No. How could I buy so many at once?" I grew even more puzzled. Then who had sent them? Looking at the lifelike copper butterfly on top, I felt it looked vaguely familiar.